Virginia Tech is finalizing a deal to make James Franklin the next head coach for the Hokies. Let's talk about what this means for Virginia Tech, what this means for college football, and why this move is happening right now. What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. If this is your first time watching Adapt and Respond, thank you for joining us here. We talk college football year round. If you're into that, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, like this video, and answer the question in the comments below. What do you think? You like James Franklin as the new head coach of Virginia Tech? Because it is happening. This has been really a song and dance that's been going on for about a month now. You've been hearing both rumor and fact about James Franklin and Virginia Tech. The biggest reason I think this is happening now is, frankly, Virginia Tech wants to win. They want to win at the level that Penn State was winning. Right now, they're not as concerned about winning the national championship. They are concerned about playing in the college football playoff. And James Franklin has demonstrated he's one of the guys that can get that done. And while many people would say, look at the roster that he's had at Penn State, I would also tell you, look at the roster that Lincoln Riley's had at USC. Look at the roster that Matt Rule has had at Nebraska, and on down the line, right? Ole Miss hasn't made the college football playoff yet. They should this year, but they had not. Florida being another one of those with a great roster and great backing. Virginia Tech is looking to join those ranks. And with Florida State not really holding up its end anymore, you talk about Clemson in a down year. So we're looking at Georgia Tech, Virginia as your two best teams in the ACC, most notably because Notre Dame just won't join the conference. Also add to this, on top of the money they're going to pay James Franklin to be their head coach, they're adding about $230 million over the next 4 years to the athletic budget to bolster their program, because they understand what the rest of us understand. It's not that the landscape is changing. It's that the landscape has changed. We're in a new era. And if you're not already running forward into that new era, you are, in fact, moving backward. This is not a sport where you get to say, oh, woe is me. I remember when amateurism was the way we did things. Players didn't get paid and coaches made $100,000 a year. That's not it anymore. You're going to pay a guy like James Franklin, who has an outstanding record as a head coach, winning, commiserate with the top 20 coaches in college football, for which he should be. Now, when you get to playing teams that are inside of the top 15, top 10, we're going to bring up the statistic that has dogged James Franklin as a head coach. He just doesn't win those games. It's really difficult for him. But if you look at Virginia Tech's schedule, most of the ACC, how many top 10 opponents are you going to play in conference? Not that many. It's going to be a schedule that looks a lot like the one that Penn State would normally put together, where you have an Ohio State and Michigan that probably going to be ranked, probably in the top 10. And then it's a crapshoot, right? In past years, Wisconsin would have been there. Iowa might have been there. Minnesota's had a couple of good years. I mean, you can keep going up and down. Michigan State. And these are all men that, or all jobs that really James Franklin should be a cut above anyway. So the idea that he's taking this job on now is two things. One, he wanted to get back to coaching as soon as he possibly could. And he was very loud about that. The same week that he was fired from Penn State, he was on game day saying, hire me. I want to coach football. And he was at Old Dominion last weekend with his guy, Ricky Ronnie, also a Virginia school, basically walking the sideline. It's as if he never switched off. But the sense that I'm getting from James Franklin isn't one in which we see a guy that is still itching and raring to go. It feels real Mike McCarthy without the year layover, right? It feels like he's the kind of dude that probably has been watching film and picking things apart, and also looking at Virginia Tech's roster up and down and seeing what he could do to improve it, to make it better. And I think he's going to immediately recruit better players. I think he's going to put together a competent coaching staff. But in as far as how good we can expect Virginia Tech to be, we'll see, right? This is a program that has gone through not just guys that were former Penn Staters like Pry, but Justin Fuente and others like Philip Montgomery is stewarding the ship right now, former head coach at TU, Baylor offensive coordinator. That'll be more interesting to me, right? It'll be who he hires as his coordinators. Who are the guys that he can lure in there? Because the one thing you can say is he's going to move them on if they aren't any good. And Penn State, I think, got a little bit tired of that. Even as they let him go get Jim Knowles, it was clear he had the guy he wanted at offense coordinator, Andy Kotelnicki, because explosive plays are what he wanted. And the guy in Jim Knowles, who had the best scoring defense and one of the best schemes of college football last year. Neither one of those things ended up showing up for him in a real way. So after firing Brent Pry, Tech put together this big old group of people that said, we're trying to find a CEO. We're trying to find a guy that can lead us into what we know college football will be. But since, we're including in Brent Pye's time, 16-24, and that's just not going to get it done, right? Starting 0-3 in September each of those years. I think one of the other things that James Franklin's going to push on this athletic department is we're going to stop scheduling important games. Like, as much as I hate to say it, you can get a long way in this sport by playing nobody until you get to your conference. And that's what Penn State was able to do. That's what Michigan's able to do. Oklahoma State used to do that with Mike Gundy. They'd schedule Savannah State, right? They'd schedule absolutely nobody. Go into conference 3-0, maybe 3-1 if they happen to schedule somebody that was any good. But for years, that's not what Oklahoma State did. And you save money that way. Are you spending money on bringing people in? Yes. But you're going to make that money back in ticket sales. You're going to make that money back in being ranked and playing on national television. And that is also what Virginia Tech wants. One of the things I think is going to be an unintended consequence of this hire is now James Franklin's off the board for Arkansas, Florida, LSU, maybe Ole Miss, depending on what Lane Kiffin wants to do, UCLA, who's apparently looking at Bob Chesney real hard, who's the head coach of James Madison. That'd be a great hire. It is taking off one of the most productive coaches in the cycle this year. And I think everybody's number 2 candidate, right? After Lane Kiffin, James Franklin. Like, if Lane Kiffin had the audacity to get up and leave from Ole Miss, which he might, I would say Lane Kiffin had the audacity to get up and leave from Ole Miss, which he might. I'd say James Franklin's the guy you probably need to go look at if you're Ole Miss. Thinking about what he'd done at Vanderbilt, thinking about what he'd done for Penn State when he got there following Bill O'Brien, right? And there's been a man who's never been one to call plays. He's always been a CEO head coach. And in this age, that is exactly what needs to happen. You need a guy who's going to be able to talk to media and understands what the assignment is for Virginia Tech and Hokies football. You're also going to lean into the culture there, Beamer ball. You're going to lean into the years of Mike Vick. You're going to lean into we play great defense and we run the football. All those things are going to play really well at a place like Virginia Tech. How soon are they going to start winning? Could be as early as next year if he can really hammer this roster into place. But that is a very tall ask in an ACC that is topsy-turvy and everybody is trying to beat everybody else all the time. It's true in every league. But in an ACC, everybody really can beat everybody up and down. You're not going to see Purdue beat Ohio State, or in this matter, Indiana. Although in the ACC, hell, I just watched Bill Belichick take a loss to Wake Forest.